CEO Money is sponsored by WF News 1 Incorporated. Views and opinions heard on CEO Money are not necessarily the opinion of this station or its management. Material on this program is intended for general information only and should not be taken as specific investment, tax, or legal advice.
Welcome to CEO Money, with your hosts Michael Yorba and Mervyn Price interviewing private and publicly traded industry titans. It's a fast-paced show focusing on CEO achievement stories, industry breakthroughs, disruptive technology, and emerging growth companies. CEO Money keeps you ahead of the curve on private and public equity trends you can't get anywhere else. We deliver tomorrow's trade today. And now, here's your hosts, Michael Yorba and Mervyn Price.
Welcome to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba, your host.
And I'm Mervyn Price, your co-host.
All right, we have a special co-host with us today, Andrew Kernan, American Property Guard. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here, Michael. Thank you.
My pleasure. All right, you've got a special guest with you today, Doug Clark, CEO of Design VR. Doug, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Doug, before we get started with all the questions, we had a great round of pre-questions before the show in the studio. Please give us some background on who you are, what your company does, and then I'm going to fade back and let Andrew and Mervyn go at you.
Sure, I appreciate it. I would be described as a serial entrepreneur. This is my fifth startup company, and as we look at Design VR, we look at bringing to market what our clients have basically reverse engineered with us. So in discussions with our clients, they have said to us, this is what we would like to see. So we have specifically listened to them and brought to market a product that they need to make themselves more efficient.
All right, Andrew, I think you lead off.
Well, great. I understand the specific difference of Design VR is your CAD integration with AutoCAD and how you're able to take an AutoCAD file and present that in virtual reality. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how that would have affected, say, the Apple building?
Absolutely, absolutely. So our clients, who will be architects, designers, home builders, all use CAD files to create space to present to their client. And in the case of the Apple building that we discussed last week, they literally had 200 meetings to make a decision as it related to doorknobs. Sounds outrageous, but it was true. So what happens is what we can provide to a situation such as that to make it more efficient and make it less cumbersome, as we heard, was to provide a collaborative platform where the clients can present to, let's say it's 40, 50, whatever the number is. They can do it all at one time instead of having to send files around in separate processes. So it's a one-stop shop, basically, where you present the file. You have whoever wants to make the decision or participate in that decision process can do it at that time. While you're making those presentations, our platform enables you to make changes. So let's say back to the Apple example, let's say the doorknob you're presenting, half a dozen people in the room don't like it. You make a change, you see what it does to the budget, and you're able to have the input from your entire team all in one meeting instead of having 200 separate meetings as we heard about.
And can you save your file back to AutoCAD, changes to your VR files?
That's a good question. So while our clients are presenting their space and making changes to the space that we've converted, and kind of going back one square, we take the CAD file from our client, we convert it into a VR file, making this simple. And we also add some robust business components behind the scenes where we present menus of the different changes they want to present to their client. What that enables them to do is while they're presenting to their client, they make the changes in real time where their client's looking at it in virtual reality like they're really there. So once those changes have been created, once those changes have been potentially agreed to by their client, they can take that data set, those changes made in VR, and then we will export those back to that originating CAD file. So the question is, why is that important? Our clients have asked us to do this, and the reason is many times with an architect, a designer, or potentially a home builder, they don't have the senior associates that present to the client or own that client, don't have the capability to make changes in an originating CAD file. So what this enables that senior associate to do, they present it to the client. They then made the changes in the file, and they are able then to, we provide it for them, they are able to update that originating CAD file without having to go back to a junior associate and say, hey, here are the changes, here's what we'd like to do. So it's a huge process change for them.
That's incredible. Now, I picture AutoCAD as very block and diagram kind of thing. Am I walking through a room that I'm just seeing the shapes of what's in the room? How do you handle that so they're getting a real look and feel of a room?
That's a good question. So the files that we receive, the CAD files, can produce what almost is photorealistic when you look at a space. If the space has doors and windows, or if it has, frames, whatever it might be, those pieces that are presented in the CAD file will look very photorealistic initially. They won't look animated. They won't look unrealistic when it's presented to their clients. So, excuse me. So the answer to your question is, it isn't CAD files from the years past, decades ago, where the CAD files showed blocks and that sort of thing, where it actually is fairly photorealistic, because the components in a CAD file, when a client brings in whatever it might be, a product they want to present or a piece they want to present, there are 3D files, there are electronic files that we can then present that electronic file and that piece. Let's say it's a table. They can present that table as if it was photorealistic.
So you get the texture, the wood, and the colors, and all that as part of it.
Yeah, we do, and it's one where the initial file that the client's going to present may be a raw CAD file, where initially that polygon count may not show all the textures and all the detail. So what we do then is our client has asked us, well, can you take that CAD file that isn't quite as photorealistic and it shows all that exact detail, where we can, it's called baking, we can bake that file to where we take it from a polygon count, and let's say the polygon count was 50,000 for a small piece of this, and we raise it.
What does that mean, polygon count?
Oh, good question. So a polygon count is what the actual pieces inside of a file. You look at a picture, and there's pieces all put together, and that produces a picture.
Like pixels.
Pixels, yes, that's a good example. So we take that polygon count, and we increase it from, as I say, maybe a 50,000 count for a particular room up to maybe 100,000, double it, to where all of a sudden you can see all the detail that is presented in that particular space. So the ability to do that is somewhat complicated, but we've been able to reproduce that.
Yeah, and you said these are what your clients are asking for. Can you tell us who some of your beta clients are? Absolutely.
We've been fortunate over the last year and a half to secure the world's largest architecture and design firm as one of our advisors and our beta client at Gensler. We've have Beck, D.R. Horton, Staubach, and the list can. We have a pretty lengthy list of some of the major players in the vertical.
Merv's got a question. Go ahead.
Doug, I have a question. It's a little outre, I'm afraid. Looking at Gensler, I know that they're one of the leading architects in Dubai, and they're working with these massive buildings, these tall buildings. When you're looking at the inside of the interior and you're relating the CAD file to a video file, and they're looking at it in virtual reality and walking along, what happens if they look out the window?
They will probably see what you would see if you were standing at that window. The CAD file can produce the actual, let me rephrase that. Once we receive the CAD file, we can then take the actual surroundings in the area and reproduce that in that CAD file.
Doug, this is a daft question, I know, but do people suffer from vertigo whenever they do that?
Unfortunately, today there is some of that. So it's only a function of as the presentation or the platforms mature, and as phones mature and they can really carry the size of these files, that will go away.
I recently was looking at properties in Sotheby's, and one of the properties is still in construction, hasn't been fully built, and they provided me with a virtual reality tour of that building. During that, I was able to change the decor of the building internally and change the design, even put a different type of bed in there. Can you do that with yours?
Absolutely. That's a core process for us. We take it one more step where we put business components behind it, where there's some decision making and with the budget changes, the ordering and that such, but that takes it to the next level.
We're going to need to take a break. I have some questions of my own, and Andrew is going to come back with some other further questions. But let's stop here for just a second, gentlemen, and come back on the other side of this break with Doug Clark, CEO, DesignVR.net, Andrew Kernan, CEO, American Property Guard. He's our guest co-host today, and Mervyn Price, Michael Yorba. You've been listening to CEO Money. We'll be right back.